Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Alice, and for the first video of 2022 I want to review with you my last year resolution, see what I got right, what I failed, what I learned from this process, because that was the first time ever I did New Year's resolution, and finally what are my resolution for 2022. So without further ado, let's get into it. So last year I divided my resolution in 3 categories, and for each category I identified specific goals I wanted to achieve. The first category was sustainability, and here the first thing I want to do was to achieve a complete zero waste period, which I did. The second was to achieve a complete zero waste cleaning routine, which I also did. I still have a couple of non-zero waste products that we still had left over from stuff that other people gave us, but I still consider that zero waste because it's not stuff I bought, I kind of rescued, and I mean, they're here at this point, so let's use them. And then for the last point, I really wanted to learn more about sustainability in general. So for the past few years, I focused specifically on zero waste and how I could reduce my impact, especially when it comes to plastic. And for this year, I really wanted to broaden my horizon in a way and try to understand sustainability more as a whole, and also to understand all the social aspects related to sustainability rather than just the environmental aspects. And this is not something I can say I have achieved, just because I think that learning is a lifetime process, not something that you do on a year and then you just, check your box. So I am very happy of what I learned and what I did to this regard, but I do intend to keep on going on this path. The second one is health and food, and this is a little bit more painful to talk about. So the first thing is kind of connected to the first one, and I wanted to go vegan, and it's connected to the first one because my main reason was sustainability. And I will be honest, I failed completely on this. And truth be told, I don't want to make an excuse. A big reason for that is that I absolutely love eating. I love everything, including meat and dairy, and I hate cooking. So the majority of time is my boyfriend that does the cooking, and when I am cooked something, I am not fussy about it. The other part of the problem is that when you try to go vegan, you realize how many things contain animal products that you didn't even consider. It's so much more than just meat and dairy. So yeah, that makes it very complicated, especially because I didn't really have a lot of very nice vegan recipe that I could substitute all these things I was removing with, and that made it a huge sacrifice. So I kind of took a step back, and instead of focusing on deleting everything, I focused on reducing. So at the moment, I'm honestly only eating meat in exceptional situations. So when I'm at someone else's house and there is nothing else I can eat, I do want to keep on reducing, and let's see where it goes. The second part was to have a very healthy diet. Now, generally speaking, I do tend to eat quite healthily in my main courses, but I do snack a lot, and I do love sweets and pastry to an insane level. So I really wanted to be as healthy as I could and cut down on all those things. Now, I would say I am definitely healthier than I was in 2020, when I indulged way too much on sweets and crisps using the excuse of the pandemic. But I didn't completely remove sweets and chocolate as I should have. So yeah, that didn't go very well, but again, I reduced massively the amount of unhealthy junk food I was eating. And then finally, as every obvious food and health resolution, I also wanted to work out. Now, to be fair to me, at that time, I was still in lockdown and I had way too much time at my hands and I wasn't going out, so I was actually working out more out of necessity, and I thought, yes, why not keep on going on that, and I can do like an hour workout 3 times per week, which for me is a lot because I absolutely hate and despise working out. And indeed, I didn't keep up with that. As soon as we went back to normal and I could do things that I liked more, I stopped working out. So again, I backtracked on my first resolution, and now I am intending to work out half an hour twice per week, which I know that looks like a joke for you active people, but for me is a lot. And I am keeping up with this. Actually, it's way more reasonable for my life and lifestyle, and this is something that I am actually keeping up with. So I do intend to keep on going in 2022. And my last resolution had to do with YouTube. So I really wanted to reach 1,000 subscribers, to post regularly, to really have fantastic content that everyone was loving. And I also wanted to really focus on my Instagram and growing it, and possibly even opening a blog. Now, when it comes to Instagram, that was a massive fail, mainly because I love Instagram as a platform, but I really don't like create for Instagram. The blog, I didn't even start it, I just didn't have the time for it. Thank God I didn't even try that. When it comes to YouTube, again, I failed. But I'm not really bothered, because I realized that I was trying to achieve the same level of visualization and impact of influencers that are actually doing it for a job, and I am not. I am doing it for a hobby. I'm doing it because I absolutely love it, and I love talking to you of all the things that rumbles around my head, and I really like that. So instead of focusing on what I did not achieve, which means I am not even close to the 1,000 subscribers, I'm less than half, but I'm so happy of what I have achieved with the time I've had, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you who subscribed to my channel. So the first thing is that honestly, I'm really surprised that I didn't do that before, because I am one of those people that actually need to write down goals and break them down into smaller tasks to be able to reach them. It really helps me. I know that that doesn't go for everyone, but really does work for me. So I wonder why I didn't realize before that New Year's resolution would have actually been a good thing for me. The other thing I learned is I made few mistakes in making the resolutions, and that I realized especially when I tried to compare and understand why the sustainability resolution went so well and everything else went so miserably. And the reality is that when it comes to sustainability, this has been a process. So I've been working on it for the past, I think 3 years. And I've always taken a very slow approach in which I did things at my pace. Same as with minimalism, actually. I went like step by step, and I always built upon my results. And in this way, although it was slow, I created very consistent and long-lasting habits. While when it comes to all the other resolutions, I wanted to achieve too much too fast. There are people that can make entire lifestyle changes in a night, and I admire them so much because I am unable to do so. I cannot do that, and every single time I tried, I failed. So I learned that I need to be a lot more reasonable with my resolution. And indeed, when I backtracked and made them a little bit more reasonable to my life, I actually was able to stick to them. So lesson learned, next time I need to be more realistic, basically. I try to break down the main goal that I want to start working on in 2022. So I know that I cannot achieve everything in 2022, but I know that I do want to start working on these overarching goals. So here we go. The first one actually has to do with minimalism and especially mindfulness and intentionality. Now, if you've been here for a while, first of all, thank you so much. But then you probably have noticed that my content has been shifting a lot more towards a realistic minimalism, as I say. And that is because this has been a very huge and important part of my life recently. So I really arrived at a point in which I decided that I do not want to waste my time, money and energy anymore on things that don't really matter to me. And until this point, I focused mainly on physical items, so everything that I was acquiring or decluttering. And that's okay, I want to continue doing that. But I also want to broaden my scope and really focusing on everything. I really want to only invest in activities that matter for me, on people that matters to me. And The second aspect of my mindfulness journey is that I also want to start appreciating and enjoying everything I have, and that doesn't only go again for physical items, but also goes for the activities I'm doing, the people I am. I really want to be able to enjoy the moment and kind of keep it with me, if that makes any sense to you. So the next on the list are my couple goals, and honestly these are obviously not just about me, and this is not something that I did alone. I did it with my partner, so I'm not going to disclose everything, just, you know, privacy reasons, but I am going to say this: for this year I really want to put my partner and my relationship first, and always remind myself that this is my priority. The reason why I'm doing that is that I noticed that in the past year there were some moments in which life was just so busy and so complicated and so messy that I tended to give my relationship a bit for granted, and I stopped working on it and making it grow as I should have. I'm human, that happens, and I know that this year is going to be particularly complicated, intense and stressful work-wise, so I know that will be a risky moment for that as well. So I want to avoid that and really remind myself that work is important, I love my job, I love my career, but my boyfriend is more important, and I really want to work on that. And I'm not going to disclose too much about this because I think I want to do an entire video on how we keep on growing as a couple and we always put each other as a priority. My last goal could be labeled self-branding, just for lack of a better word, and it requires a little bit of explanation. So in my soul searching that I've been doing this period, I really realized that I was living kind of a dichotomous situations, in which on one side I was really admiring and aspiring to become like some women in my life that I always perceived as incredibly elegant and sophisticated, on top of very intelligent. And the aesthetical part had a lot to do with it. I really like how they were dressing, but I also loved how they were carrying themselves, how they were acting with others, etc, etc. On the other side though, I will admit that I fell into this trap of thinking that everything that has to do with fashion, beauty and all these things are kind of silly and they're not really that relevant, and if you are a person of substance, you focus on something else. And that's honestly stupid. I mean, you can focus on anything you want if it is important. Of course, for me, beauty and aesthetics and fashion are not more important than my relationships, but they are important as well. And I decided that I do want to try and identifying all these strings that I still have attached to me and just get rid of them, because it's just silly at this point. And I really want to focus on becoming the person I want to become holistically, not just on a more, let's say, substantial level, but also on an aesthetical level, and that's fine for me. And that might go, seems very silly to you, but for me it was really a pivotal moment in my life to realize and accept that these things for me were important as well. So for this year I really want to start focusing on especially the beauty aspects, because I think that that's the part that I really disregarded the most. So yeah, that doesn't mean for me becoming a makeup guru all of a sudden, because I still hate makeup, but I do want to focus more on having a decent skincare, a decent hair care. Yeah, that's it basically. So this was my video for today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and if you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to know where this crazy journey is going in terms of minimalism and relationship and elegance and sophistication, please consider subscribing to this channel. I would absolutely love it to have you back.